How can we obey our Lord? So this is love. This is an action of the heart. But this action of the heart leads to the actions of the limbs. Okay? And the same with fear and khushu'. Khushu' means reverential awe. All of these and many other actions of the heart, these are acts of worship. And they must be directed to Allah in a way that is pleasing to Allah. And they all have means and ways that we can direct them to other than Allah, which is not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we can know this by studying Allah's revelation. Yes? So worship means internally here to make our love of our heart in a way that is pleasing to Allah. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that it doesn't matter how much you pray and how much you fast and how much charity you give. You will never taste halwatul iman, the sweetness of iman, the sweetness of faith, until you love Allah and His Messenger more than anything else. Until you give for the sake of Allah and you withhold for the sake of Allah. You love for the sake of Allah and you hate for the sake of Allah. You meet for the sake of Allah and you depart for the sake of Allah. Until you have that quality, my brothers and sisters, you will never taste how beautiful and how sweet and how lovely this beautiful deen of Islam is. So this is something to achieve, this is something to aim for, this is something to yearn for. And the action of the limbs, it's obvious what is the action of the limbs, yes? Praying, fasting, making pilgrimage, enjoining the right, forbidding the wrong, fighting jihad, how we dress, how we talk, how we behave, our manners, our akhlaq, our adab. This is all the actions of the limbs. Even how we go to the toilet. Even how we go to the toilet. Islam has something to say about that. Even that can be done in a way that is pleasing to Allah. In a way that Allah loves and is pleased with. And this is all taught to us in the revelation. So my brothers and sisters, this is the purpose of our life. To try to do everything in our life in a way that Allah loves and Allah is pleased with. You may not reach that. Almost definitely, it will be very hard to reach that every day, all the days of your life. But at least we can try. And this is our purpose. And Allah did not create us for any other purpose except that. This is very important to realize. And this is the nobility, and this is the happiness, and this is the true peace, and this is the true tranquility. This is the purpose of the life of the human being. Let me ask you a question, something to think about. How pleasant do you think the life of a cat would be if the cat spent its whole life thinking it was a dog? You know, cats and dogs are always fighting. Yes? You don't know? Or you know? Okay. So if the cat thinks he's a dog, how pleasant is the life of the cat going to be? It's not going to be pleasant at all. Imagine the deer thinks he's a lion, or the sheep thinks he's a wolf. Will the life of this animal be happy? No. How about the human being? He thinks his life is about running after this dunya, but Allah did not create him for that. Allah did not create her for that. Allah created the human being to worship Him. In the remembrance of Allah, the hearts find rest. This dunya is only there for one reason. The only benefit of this whole dunya is that we can use it in order to get closer to Allah. That's it. You use the dunya in order to get closer to Allah. Apart from that, it has no benefits. That's it. Your life is very short. And this is another illusion, that it's amazing that although on one hand the materialist teaches that life is a random event, we are like animals, that's it, we live and we die. Really, in reality, they always forget the dead bit. They leave that. And they somehow imagine, in spite of things dying in front of them constantly the whole time, people seem to live under this illusion that they are going to live on this earth forever. So they build fantastic houses and amazing palaces, and they surround themselves with wealth and all sorts of things as if they are going to be enjoying this forever. And really, believe me, some of them actually really have this idea. They don't think they're going to die. My father, may Allah guide him to Islam, he's 82 now, 82. And he told me last year, for the first time in my life, I feel mortal. For the first time in my life, I feel mortal. That means my dad has only after 82 years, has my dad suddenly realized that I am gonna die. It's taken him that long. And my dad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a lot of strength. You know, if you meet my dad, most of you, he'd beat you in tennis easily. Allah gave him this strength and this energy. But the disadvantage of that is that he imagined, I'm never gonna die. And people fool themselves with that. And only maybe when they get very old and they get weak and they start realizing, wait a minute, my strength has left me and I'm 82 years old and no one is really gonna live beyond 90, maybe 100 maximum. You realize suddenly, no, death is gonna come. But maybe that's much too late to start realizing that fact. And also, we don't know when death is gonna come. How many people live to my father's age? Very few. Most people die long before that. So the other reality we have to be aware of, that the meaning of life is actually not life itself, but the meaning of life is the end of life.